1.
All right, welcome to a very special edition of Fragments of Silicon Reviews. We're doing, or rather, we're redoing our Orbox C review. Um, if you managed to listen to it in the brief time it was available, our previous review had some audio problems. Namely, Petty's keyboard was damn loud. Like, to the point where it overwhelmed the entire, production. Like, one developer complaint later, and here we are.
Mm.
We should have that ironed out. This time, Petty Fan is playing with a controller.
Yeah, though I
Um,
guess I should mention this game does not officially support controllers, so...
yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. I'm not sure if we talked about that first time around,
I don't think we
but
did at all, but yeah.
um, anyway, if you didn't catch our Orbox C review, um, so this game is basically sliding box puzzle the game. Like, it's the latest in a series of, the Orbox series. Um, and it's actually the first one that's been released commercially. Like Orbox, you know, A and B, let's say. Even though I think they're not classified as like, you know, it's Orbox, Orbox 2, Orbox C.
But
Weirdly
those
enough.
are all on
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, those are, and there is a freeware version of Orbox C as well. But you can find those on your local free Flash game site, like Armor Games or Congregate and the like. Uh, the version we have on display here is the retail version of the game of Orbox C on Steam, and that's going for $3. And honestly, for what's in it, that's a good price for it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is sliding block puzzles are a mechanic in other kinds of games, usually like RPGs and stuff. That said, this game does elaborate on it significantly. You start out with pretty simple block puzzles where the goal is just to, and this is all the ice variant of sliding block puzzles where you,
Right.
when you push the block, it goes until it hits something. It starts off pretty simple with just get the box to the goal. It quickly adds lots of different. I mean, not you get a good amount of time to get used to them, and then there's a while before they start mixing them together. But there are like ice blocks which are fragile. There are bombs that you have to explode sometimes. There are gems to pick up, that kind of thing.
Hang on.
1 second.
Is somebody's phone going off?
Yeah, 1 second.
Oh, lovely. Live broadcasting, everyone. At any rate, yeah. So this game is pretty simple, pretty limited in its scope as well, but not that limited. Like, you do have things like you can see on screen right now. It's got the angle portion here, and
the triangle blocks change your direction. There are a lot of different things, and they introduce different goals besides just getting the box to the end square, such as collecting all the gems or exploding all the bombs.
Yeah.
Or hitting all the sensors, which is one of the weirder things because the bombs are easy because they explode after you hit them once. The sensors you have to hit on every side.
Yeah, and surprisingly, the bombs don't destroy you if they go off.
Yeah, the game notes that.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, there are no hazards or enemies in this game. It's all pure directions. Like if you go in the wrong direction, you go flying off into space. Now, there is no, like say, space snake that'll gobble your cube, for lack of a better term. I'm not exactly sure. I guess that is the Orbox. Like, I'm not exactly sure, but at any rate,
This game doesn't exactly have the deepest lore.
yeah, I'm not sure if it. Well, I'm not sure if it has any lore to speak of, but it's kind of immaterial.
Right.
Like, but yeah, like not the base goal in most levels is to get to the exit, but not all. Like the one we're showing off here, you've got to get all the gems.
Yeah, there are some that have other goals, and usually when they have other goals, um,
Mm-hmm.
initially they'll just be the other goal, like you have to get all the things to finish the stage, but eventually you start having to get to the exit, but the exit doesn't open until you have broken all the ice blocks or exploded all the bombs or whatever.
Right, or a combination of factors. You know, it will. The game does get more elaborate at higher difficulties. No, as you'd expect. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's not just the same thing for 200 levels, or rather 210 levels. That is the complete level count at this point in time.
So it looks like there's not
Yeah.
DLC, but
Well, there is the promise of DLC. A chain reaction mode is in the works, according to the notes here.
it's a level pack that's listed as after 3,000 downloads, which I don't know what that means.
I'm guessing.
Presumably after they sell 3,000 of the
Yeah.
main one.
I'm not sure. I'm like either that or 3,000 the free one, but I'm not sure how that would pertain to the Steam version. But yeah, currently the current level packs are easy, average, normal, hard, easy 2, speed, and bonus. Like, admittedly, I don't think anyone has access like speed or bonus to see the differences in the, because you've got to unlock all these packs by completing you unlock easy to an average by unlocking easy mode, and not for nothing, but um, elaborations aside, you play this game for a few minutes and you've pretty much seen the game. That's
Mhm.
not necessarily a bad thing, but the core is pretty simple and specific. It's like it's four-way
That's
block.
usually more of a good thing in a puzzle game than a bad thing.
Yeah, and
And this is no, it's definitely more complex than Tetris, but
it's not really
pretty easy to
comparable.
grasp the idea of.
It's not really comparable to Tetris though, because that's a different kind of puzzle game. That's a falling block puzzle,
Mhm.
versus this is more of a logic puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is to say, you're this is an actual puzzle game. Tetris is less so. Let's just say, like there's puzzle elements, but it's not the same as a game where you have time to think about how to beat a level. Now, Tetris is much more action oriented than this,
Mhm.
and it's also Tetris is spontaneous. This is actually everything was designed
Mhm.
beforehand. These are important distinctions. Let's see. In terms of graphics, um, everything's everything's pretty solid in terms of graphics. The presentation is kind of lacking. In fact, if I didn't know better, I'd swear this was a port for mobile, given how stripped down the options are.
Yeah, the weirdest thing to me is that there's no like volume sliders. You just have the option of turning on or off sound effects and music.
Right. And like there's no controller support. There's, you know, it's the bare minimum of options uh, that are in the package here. Like also the UI buttons are really really huge, which is another thing I usually see on mobile ports. Not necessarily saying these are bad, but I'm like they are noticeable. Although, yeah, a volume slider would be preferable to just turning on and off the music, as you know, when the music's on, it's on full blast minus your own personal audio settings. And the music here is, I'd say, typical space techno music. You know, you have an outer space game and it's got techno music, and uh, that's about it. Like, let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. So the package here is pretty solid for what it is, but a major caveat here is what is here is, well, you can find in other games, and it's grafted onto more. There's more meat there. I think this came up last time we reviewed it, but I'm reminded of the It'll Do series. If you've been watching Naka's Let's Plays, you know that block puzzles of this exact nature are a big part of that game, and that's a Zelda clone. It's got more than the sliding block puzzle as well. Now, so if you're looking for a lot of variety, this isn't, in terms of puzzle types, this isn't going to be your bag. But if you like sliding block puzzles, definitely get this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, this is a game you're probably going to be playing, I'd say about 10 minutes, maybe 30 at most. Like it's a definite pick up and play for in short bursts of time. I mean, I suppose you could play it for a long period, but you're probably gonna like. I suppose another problem with the game is you know it's built to be very fast, not just in terms of what's in the package, but the levels themselves are very small. Granted, it may take you a while to figure out the solution, but these games are still pretty much designed for, you're playing this level for like 6 to 14 seconds on average.
Yeah, a long level might take 30 seconds to complete once you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Point is, yeah, there are some levels that may take actually some minutes to figure out, but that's the key word. Yeah. And I suppose there's another problem with the game being as rigid as it is with its puzzles.
Yeah, there are some that have multiple solutions, but not all of them by any means.
Yes, and there is a score in the game which is surprisingly not based off of, say, time, but it's based off of area explored. Like you leave a trail of dots, and every time you leave a trail, your score goes up, and the more you do, the more score you get. though, once again, given how parsed back this game is, there are no leaderboards from what I saw. I don't see leaderboards listed in the notes here. It's single player Steam achievements, Steam trading cards.
Yeah, and that struck me as kind of odd because this is exactly the kind of game you often will see something like leaderboards on.
Maybe that's a thing that's forthcoming. I didn't see any mention of it, but like I said, I couldn't offer a statement one way or another on if leaderboards are coming. But yeah, it's definitely something that should be in the game. Another another thing to note is there is no create a puzzle mode here. There's no level creation system, which is another kind of surprise because you might expect that in a game like this, because many of these type of games do have their own level editors that you can create, and Steam Workshop support and all that. Nothing of that sort here. Like I said, it is one of the game's main problems. It is a really, really limited package, but I suppose that's kind of mitigated by the fact that it only costs $3. Like, I'll be honest. I think if there was way, this is something that would work really well on, say, the 3DS or the Switch. Some sort of portable device. You know, it's just a kind of gameplay that meshes better with something that's on the go and short versus loading it up on a desktop. Ultimately, yeah, I give this a solid recommendation, but as noted, it's the right price for the right package, but you might, if you're looking for what's beyond what we're showing on screen here, it's just not there. And if it sounds like I'm ranking on the game, I'm not. Like everything's solidly executed, nothing is broken, but that's really all all there is. Now, I can't say it's an amazing game or anything, but it's not it's not a terrible game either. Any further words from you, Galax?
I found it fun, but I do like this kind of puzzle. So, and I think that a lot of games that have, I mean, this is a lot of levels, and it manages to not get stale. I think because of all the different mechanics that it introduces.
Oh yeah, that is a credit in its favor, because this is the kind of game that if it did could get stale very quickly if it didn't mix it up. Petty Fan, any words from you?
This is an alright game. I don't think it's going to be, it's pretty average. Like, it's not going to be, mentioned in, like, some of the all-time greats or whatever, but it's certainly not terrible.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a shot, especially since it's particularly inexpensive.
Yeah. All right. So that'll do it for Orbox C once again. Hopefully the audio problems don't arise again. Well, the keyboard stuff isn't there because I didn't hear any clacky keys.
So, yay for forcing controller support on games that don't natively have it.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want another developer complaint, So, all right. With all that in mind, be if you're listening to this live, we're going to be back in about a half an hour with our interview with Ross Bierley of Ghostlight Games. I'm looking forward to it, and we hope you're looking forward to it as well. And until then, I wish you good gaming.